think we'll look back at these last 2 weeks and people will say those were terrible 2 weeks of the Trump campaign. That's true. We had a rough 2 weeks. It helps us to be down a little, lights a fire under us. But I think we'll look back and say, why in the world didn't Hillary Clinton's campaign totally put us away in those 2 weeks? They put her into hiding. I think they made a grievous error by not having her go over to the Middle East to meet with the troops or give major policy speeches on Obamacare or immigration or the economy.
Wow, that is Trump's newly appointed campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, yes, giving advice to the Clinton campaign on CNBC and asking a question you don't hear a lot. Why isn't Clinton doing any better? And why has the focus shifted back to yet more documents from her time at the State Department? We want to get right back to our panel. I mean, Susan, when you look at this new bevy of documents coming out, these new emails, and let's get out of the weeds. I think a lot of people do want to quote Bernie Sanders and say, who cares about the emails? But it's that trust issue, right? I mean,
absolutely. It is the trustworthiness issue. It's also, my guess is that we're going to see several emails that involve the Clinton Foundation. So it goes back to the pay-to-pay scandal. There are a lot of issues with Hillary Clinton's emails, and these were emails that she deemed, and this is really important, she and her attorney deemed that weren't work-related, that didn't need to be scrutinized. These are emails that the FBI had to go get. She did not disclose them, and I think that's significant. So every one of those emails is something she wanted to keep from public records, whether it's significant or not.
Okay, but Carl, the point that Kellyanne made there, I mean, at this point in time, shouldn't Trump, though, can't you just reverse that whole argument and say Trump should be doing a much better? He has what many people deem to be a compromised Democratic nominee on his hands.
I agree, but what you have here is you have a cloak of invisibility by major media networks. You have...
Hold up there. I mean,
there is. I mean, we're sitting here talking about Trump's favorability of the black community at 1%, yet Hillary Clinton is selling state access to the State Department.
I'm sorry, I think that talking about black voters is very important to me as a black voter.
But I'm saying that we're talking about that. We led the segment off by talking about that rather than Hillary Clinton selling access to the State Department.
Because he said, what in the hell do you have to lose? And I would argue with you, Carl, everything.
Yeah, okay.
And so I don't think that...
What has Hillary Clinton done for the black community?
Actually, a lot. So,
name one.
So I'll give you several. So if you look at even her campaign advisors, the fact that she retains black-owned businesses as vendors, the fact that many of the people who also sit in her kitchen cabinet look like me, the fact that her policies...
for the community,
I'm not finished. Her policies aren't patently offensive. The fact that she has proposed criminal justice reform policies that would impact people who look like me. The fact that she's standing up for voting rights and is not arguing for voter suppression in North Carolina right after a judge backstabbed.
So I would argue that...
Well, but you asked me to tell you what he's done.
So
he's
in
not
the
done
interest of
anything.
Time, so those are great talking points, but
They're
I would
not
argue
talking
that
points. Those are
over
actually
30 or 40 years, Donald Trump has always historically worked with black community leaders to build jobs in the black community.
He had 2 cases with the Department of Justice for housing discrimination because they wrote CP, colored person on top of black people's applications.
So if you can interject here for a second, Alex, I mean, in terms, and you can see how heated it is on both sides here, in terms of Clinton actually getting on front of this, you know, the Washington Post this weekend had a headline that I thought got a bit too in front of themselves. They're talking about her already putting together her White House team. Is that not just beyond the pale, really?
Well, I mean, it's normal for candidates to, at this point in the cycle of serious candidates, to prepare for a transition because you actually might win. Mitt Romney, at this point in 2012, was well along in contingency planning for a possible administration. But look, I think Kellyanne actually made a very, very good point about Clinton sort of easing up on the pressure on Trump. I think Democrats have made a decision to sort of let Trump twist in the wind by himself and feel the heat on his own, to sort of mix metaphors there. And I think the risk you run there, you know, there's a very good argument to be made for letting this guy suffer. He's obviously having a very, very rough summer. But the problem is when Hillary Clinton is not out there delivering her own affirmative message in a really forward-leaning way, it's the emails, it's the foundation that rushes into to fill the void. And I think the notion that you can somehow play it really safe at this stage, is, I don't know about that.
And it's also really critical that Hillary Clinton needs to bring up those unfavorable numbers, just even a little bit. They're just so bad if she wants to really go after this. And even if she's elected, I mean, either way, actually, no matter who's elected this November, the president will not be trusted or liked, and they're going to have a very difficult time in getting any agenda through. But Hillary Clinton's press strategy is she's got to face them at some point. You know, the media, she hasn't had a press conference in, what is it, 260
something days.
Some days. But at the same time, she should let the super PACs go on the attack on Donald Trump, and she should move it on a positive message.
Well, we'll see how that ground game and the television game continues. Thank you all for being here. We're always short of time. There are 78 days, though, left until the election, and that's the state of the race tonight here in America. The news continues next right here on CNN, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.